Okay, so we are videotaping a service panel upgrade, and Kurt Sorensen, our C10 electrician, is over here doing the first steps, which is labeling all of the wires and breakers so that when we go to put everything back together, we know where everything goes and what size breaker each wire is supposed to go into. So he is sticking little stickers on each piece of wire and on each breaker so we know exactly what goes with what when it goes back together. So here's the shiny new panel that's going to go in. It's a much larger panel with a 200 amp bus bar and a 200 amp main breaker, so we are not overloading the bus bar. The one we're taking out is a 100 amp bus bar with a 100 amp breaker that's in the center. So that's not going to work with our bus bar ratings. So Kurt has just marked the area where the new panel is going to go, and now we need to chip out the stucco so that there's room for it. This is the fun part.
Yeah, it's pretty soft. Coat.
Hulk smash!
Yeah. This stuff is soft. Not pretty easy.
Well, that was easy.
The fast one. Stucco doesn't taste very well.
Yeah. That's why I like using the chipping hammer.
So now this panel is all ready to go. All the wires and breakers are labeled. You can see all the labeling there and further down. And this is our main, which is why it's not labeled. It doesn't have to be labeled because we know that's the main. And all of our stucco is done, all put out, everything's ready to go. And now we are waiting for the electric company to come turn the power off so we can continue working on this. We are going to go look at where the ground wires go, so they go down into that hole, which is then going to the UFER for the house, which will be inside the customer's garage. So we'll take a walk over there. And there is our UFER. And Drew is undoing the panel to get to it. So it's hard to see, but right up in there is the actual ground for the house. And that copper wire running through it is coming from the main panel. And we're going to add our wire to it also. So Kurt is now drilling a hole in the stud to put that ground wire in because the UFER is actually one panel over. And now he's got that. And he is sliding it through. And Drew will be on the other side to catch it. Inside the garage. And he'll be able to attach it to that UFER that was down there in that little hole at the garage. So now Edison is here, our friendly neighborhood electric company, and they are going to shut this panel down so that we can safely continue working on it.
I got it around there, but I can't get inside to tighten it. You know how the house moved out?
He's unlocking the meter ring there for us. Holds that meter in place. His partner is actually shutting it off as it comes onto the property over here so that all of our wires are dead. And he's using a clamp-on amp meter to see how much power is going through it right now. It's only a couple of amps.
That's it.
Okay, and his partner pulled out the meter so that it's now 0 amps because you don't want to be disconnecting this stuff with amps flowing.
See if we get lucky.
There he goes.
Okay.
And now his partner's going to check it over there with a voltmeter and make sure it's actually disconnected. He's taping up the end for good measure and safety. So Kurt is now loosening all these wires, which is something that he waited until the panel was dead to do just to make it safer. We'll also note that that meter is now just a socket. The man from the electric company took the meter with him and they'll replace it with the new one or the same one, whichever they prefer when they're done. Okay. So now he's just pulling all the wires out now that he loosened all the screws. So as he's pulling these out, he's straightening them up so we can get them through the holes, because they're going to have to pull that panel out and leave all those wires dangling and then stuff those wires in the knockouts of the new panel. Now he's loosening all the screws on the bus bar so he can get all the neutrals loose. Just going to loosen all those, pull them out, and straighten them out too. Those don't have to be labeled like the hot wires do, so it makes it a lot easier. You can just pull those out and put them all on the bus bar of the new panel. So now he's working on getting those wires back out through those knockouts so that he can pull the panel out, and then all those wires are going to have to go back in the new knockouts. The straighter those wires are, the easier they're going to go through that hole, so he's still working on getting them straight. Pulling from above and pushing from below, and there they go. There it goes. He's working on that existing ground wire that goes through the wall to the woofer, which, like I said, we're going to keep that in and attach it inside the new panel. And there she goes. Service panel has been removed. So Drew is now removing these strain relief pieces. We could theoretically reuse them, but it's going to be easier just to run all these wires through a bigger hole with a bigger strain relief on it that we already have set up. So he's just getting them taken out of the way. Our new made panel is right over here. You can see it's got a big old strain relief on it. And we have another one for it too, so we don't need all the little individual ones that are getting cut off right now. So one of our issues is these wires coming in from the middle right here. So we've got Drew over on the other side of the wall where there is an LB, and he will be able to pull those through so that we don't have to have them in our way, and then we can have them come back through in the top or the bottom. because right where that is right on where the bus bar is for the new panel. So there they go. Bye bye. No more problem. We're getting ready to put the panel in. Drew's got it right there. And with a big heave ho. Just pulling the ground wire through.
No, I think we gotta get some more of that. We'll get there. Let's see if I can get him. About a little angle. Getting it. Getting it? Yep. Well. There we go. Cool. Tighten it. Make a little ease there. Oh, one here. You got anything in your bag? Nope, right here. These two. Yeah, I think those screws in the. Yeah, you just need to lift it up a little bit. keyed on my level.
So the first thing he hooked up there is that ground wire to the bus bar. And the reason he did that first is when the inspector comes out here, that's what he's going to want to see. So if we're still working on the other parts of this, he is very likely to pass it for the inspection, even if we're not done, as long as that ground is in. So that's the most important thing. He's connecting the old ground wire that was existing, and he's connecting the new ground wire that we pulled ourselves. So he's getting those put in right now first. Now we're making sure we're level, which it just happens to be level because these guys are awesome like that. Now he is screwing it into the studs.
Looks good.
Yeah. So now he's hooking all the other grounds and neutrals to that bus bar. So Drew's putting in the top plate. We can see that we have all our breakers in and the wires placed on them. That part was pretty simple and happened while I was at the hardware store. We have our solar breaker all set up down there with no wires going to it yet because we have not yet installed the solar. What's that you're putting on the wire?
Antioxidant. It's aluminum wires.
That way we won't have corrosion. Should eat some of that. Antioxidants are good for you.
Not by today's standards.
So these are the wires coming in from the electric company. That one's the neutral, which he is hooking up to a bar, a lug that's attached to a bar that is then attached to the ground bus bar in the panel, which we can follow that little bar over there and see that it's attached to the ground bus bar. And then he's got the two hots left. And having the electricity off makes this part a heck of a lot safer. So now we have the front face plate, and they put the stickers on there, and they're now marking all the breakers based on how the old breaker panel was mapped out, so that our customer will know what breaker flips what switches. There it is, all marked with what everything is. There's your main, and there's all the load breakers with the solar at the very bottom. And he's just putting the cover piece on the area where the meter socket is, so Edison can just pop in the meter when they show up. And we're still waiting on the inspector. We are all ready to go for stucco on all sides, on the top and bottom, so we can get the stucco patch in there.
Just pull up. Yeah.
And there it is, our finished panel. The door is on, all the parts are on, and it's just waiting for the inspector and then for the electric company to come turn the power back on.